can we do it like we do it?
I can't even dance, and I just want to dance every time I hear it. Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome back, and happy Monday. I just wanted to say really quick, I know that I didn't see you guys on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I took a day for me and Jason and my mother-in-law, and we went to brunch, and it was a whole day. So I was like, I can take one day off. Listen to this shit, you guys. So then on Sunday, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because the person is okay. On Sunday, Jason came home from work Saturday night, and he was like, the electricity's out. And I said, why is the electricity out? He said, I just passed a drunk driver, drove into the pole, the electric pole with the transformer, and knocked over the whole pole, knocking them all over where we live. And so no internet, no electricity, and all of the food that I just bought for the storm in the refrigerator is gone. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is the guy's okay. So I was just giving you guys an explanation as to why I didn't record yesterday. Anyways, with that, last night we watched The Real Housewives in New Jersey, sort of reunion kind of situation, whatever they were trying to make it. Not quite sure what it was, but I have Ashley from Taste of Reality, who is in Los Angeles, boots on the ground, seeing some ish, checking out all the spots, and we're going to welcome her. So guys, with over 500 people in the room to kick this off, what a way to start Monday. Smash that like button. If you're not subscribed to Up and Adam channel, get subscribed, and let's welcome Ashley. Hello.
Hello, reporting live from Hotel Ziggy, home of the Vander spot from season 10, when James Kennedy hosted the DJ party and the girls intimidated Joe the day she was in the hat. Yeah.
Is that the same hotel?
What's that?
That's the same hotel?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
yeah, their pool is the best. I love to swim. They have a saltwater pool, like no chemicals. It's amazing.
I gotta pick your brain because you sent me a photo with Jason and I's good friend Charlie from TomTom. How is it going?
Okay. First of all, we love Charlie. Charlie is a rock star. If you guys have the opportunity to visit TomTom, ask for Charlie. You won't be disappointed with the amazing service. He gave us great recommendations.
He's a little sassafras, huh?
Oh, I can very easily tell that you guys were friends. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know you and I met him and like, didn't know there was a connection. I'd be like, oh, I should introduce them. They'd be so cool together. And here we are.
Yes, I love him. I love him. So he took care of you, so that's good.
Yeah. Can I tell you a little bit about TomTom though?
Please, because I opened TomTom. I haven't been back in a long time. And last time I did go back, I was like, what happened? Do you remember? Sorry, not to cut you. Do you remember the movie Bring It On?
Of course.
Do you remember?
It's cold in here.
Yes. Do you remember when all of a sudden the girl who went to college and she was stealing all of the cheers, she came back and she's like, I handed you something and you ruined it.
Yes, Big Red.
Big Red. And now I look at TomTom and I'm like, what did you guys do? Because I look at the new staff and not all of them, but it's one of those things, guys, any restaurant, it starts off with a bang and then, you know, over time things happen. But please tell me about TomTom, please.
We had a great experience. Food, phenomenal. Drinks, phenomenal. Ambiance, excellent. Service, excellent. Top to bottom, we loved it. No complaints. We see this morning that Peter Madrigal, who was at SUR last night, we actually had dinner at SUR last night. He wasn't very chatty, no problem. Not everybody's on all the time. He was polite, fine, whatever. I wish I would have gotten this exclusive tea from him, but it was on a podcast today. Peter Madrigal said that he had driven by TomTom, which has a TomTom sign and a pump sign, which is very confusing. The whole thing is very confusing. But Peter said that Lisa's rebranding TomTom to Pump, which is something that we've all kind of figured for a while, especially since Pump closed and she moved the gate and everything over. Peter said that the TomTom sign was gone. I have to politely correct him. Unless it's been taken down in the last 36 hours, the pump sign is very clear from the street. The TomTom sign is completely there's greenery totally covering it. So you can't even see the TomTom sign, but it's there. So the rumor is that they're rebranding, which is very possible. I see that happening, but they haven't taken the TomTom sign down yet.
You know what's wild is, from my understanding, Tom and Tom never collected a single paycheck from TomTom because I believe it was a $4 million renovation. They had such a small stake in it, but it also created a storyline for them on the show. And then Lisa was so smart to put them in. It was like putting in Mickey and Goofy. You're at Disney World, you get to see the characters.
Yeah.
They get you some shots, and it's a whole thing. But I think for her rebranding it as Pump Restaurant, I don't know if that would be something that she would have normally done, or if it's something as more of like an FU to the original landlord who was giving them a little bit of trouble with that location. Because
Right.
I don't think that Lisa and Ken ever expected when they came out publicly saying that the landlord was upping the rent and trying to get them to do a 10-year commitment. I don't think that they expected the landlord to come back publicly and say, that's not true. And to be fair, I have given them a couple months of like just being really nice and gracious to you where you
Mhm.
didn't have to pay. And I kind of comped that off for you guys. And then once he came out publicly, they said, you know what? We're not giving you the liquor license. So now, unless, and I haven't been back to LA in quite some time, but maybe you saw, Pump Restaurant was taken a new where the location was, a new restaurant took over the lease. The old GM who was at Pump was supposed to be the new GM for that restaurant, and they still haven't opened because they are fighting for this liquor license. And I think Ken and Lisa are like, you shouldn't have talked about us publicly because we don't have to give you anything. And now it's like their one last FU of, guess what? Now we have Pump on the same block. I think personally.
That theory slaps. It really does. And I think you make a really, really good point in the fact that the landlord clapped back publicly, and that probably wasn't on the agenda. Like that was probably
Right.
not in their little crystal ball for the day
No.
or for what
No.
was to come.
And
No.
also they're kind of the ones that you don't want to do that with because I mean it's one of those things like, God, I'm telling you guys, you never want to go against Lisa and Ken. I'm just telling you. As somebody who worked there around it, you don't.
So I've been to TomTom before a
Mhm.
long time ago, probably when it was first opening. And I asked Charlie and he explained it, but it's loud and it was confusing because I think it's kind of messy and he explained it well. But like, I feel like it's like two separate restaurants, it feels like next to each other. And when I went originally, it felt like it was one of them. And now I feel like the space has doubled. Maybe I didn't explore enough the first time I was there, but I feel like the space has doubled since last time I was there. Do you know anything about that?
It did double. So
Okay.
they ended up, it was almost a year after we opened TomTom. TomTom was a very small, narrow space that went all the way back to the garden. Then they
Yes.
ended up buying the, I guess, addition to the sex toy shop next door. They took that down. I think it was another $2 million renovation and it connected. So what they did was they broke down the wall in between. And that
Mhm.
way the kitchen upstairs could walk the food down to the second side. But then also in the middle, right next to that DJ booth, in between the bar and the DJ booth, that was
Mhm.
originally the DJ booth, they broke down that wall too. So it kind of seemed like, I think what they were trying to accomplish was TomTom Restaurant and sort of like a TomTom Lounge, even though it all looks the same. Pretty much
Mhm.
what they did with Sir, except Sir looks like a restaurant and a lounge, and TomTom just now looks like this one big universal space that they're trying to give two totally different identities, which I don't understand.
It's confusing.
It's
It's very
confusing.
confusing. The only thing more confusing that we came across this weekend was Jax's.
No, tell me.
So you know how Jax, when we saw him bartending at Sir, how he would like get mad if somebody wanted a mojito because it requires muddling. Like he basically wanted to pour wine and beer and get like the praise of being like an LA bartender. The food and drinks at Sir, at TomTom, at Something About Her, everything tasted like it was made with love and care and attention to detail. I cannot tell you how disappointed I was with Jax's, and the expectation was low. We went for the first time on Friday night. We got there, we waited a half an hour and got no service. Nobody came up to us, asked for a drink order. Nobody asked for food order. So we just left. Like we were just kind of there. We were already full. We were like, you know what? This is a waste of time. Like we don't need the calories. Let's come back in a couple days. We went yesterday and the beer cheese was not good. It honestly looks like little baby, what's the kid's name? Cruz. It looks
Yeah.
like Cruz plated the food. Like it was just like two weird pretzel bread things that weren't really pretzels. It was more bread shaped as pretzels. Like it didn't have the pretzel glaze or the salt. The cheese was like a processed ball in a bowl, and it held a weird shape. It was not tasty. And I'm a cheese girl. I'll eat cheese. Like that's my dinner. I'll sit down with like a block of cheese and that's my dinner for the night. Like I'm totally fine with that.
I'm a cheese girl too.
Yeah, girl dinner all day. It was really bad. The drinks tasted like Jax made them, even though he wasn't there. Like I had Brittany's sweet tea and it was just like a mediocre drink. There was nothing wrong with it, but there was nothing special about it. My partner Imani had like a strawberry margarita. It was just basic, like nothing great. We had she had a burger that was disgusting. Like even just looking at it, it was sloppy. It was like she could barely eat it. It was just bad. It was bad, top to bottom. And I have a theory.
Yeah.
Like what you said with TomTom and the ownership, and people know how much money and business will come with the Vanderverse. For those of you who don't know, Jax's is like a part of Rocco's in Studio City. It's about 15 minutes away from all the other Vanderpump restaurants and whatnot. And Lance Bass from NSYNC, who also officiated Brittany and Jax's wedding, he's one of the owners. I think Lance is a very smart young man. He knows the gay community and he's very well aware of the Vanderpump universe and how we are. I feel that Lance went to his partners and Rocco's and said, listen, this guy has a show. I say we use this room that's not being used, this space. We put Jax's name on it, and that'll get them here for filming.
Yeah.
The second that this show is no longer on the air, this restaurant will not exist. It will never exist. I don't think he has any ownership of it. I think his name is just on the outside of it.
And he collects the paycheck.
Exactly. I think it's just like a shell. And people said that about something about her, but I had a whole ass meal there yesterday and it was phenomenal. So say what you want about like something about her, like being like, oh, it's a fake restaurant. It's not a real business. Like I sure ate a whole damn meal there yesterday and it was delicious.
Lucci Per, when we open TomTom, Adam, please slow your roll, honey. Stay in your lane before Lisa comes after your ass. I talked to Lisa not too long ago. Love Lisa, and she loves my husband, and I am not talking bad about her restaurants at all. Thank you, Lucci. Just to move on from that, something about her I saw on Ashley's site, Taste of Reality, today that they got some intel that Ann Maddox, you guys remember her? She since, and I was reading your article and it was kind of interesting to see how many things she has done since being on Vanderpump Rules. She was fired by Tom Sandoval because she interviewed with Ariana Maddox. You guys remember this. And then after she started the We Signed an NDA podcast, she did Duracell commercials, a couple other commercials, little sponsorships, and she's doing the damn thing, right? Well, we're seeing her on the show and we're seeing her all over social media as if she is working at something about her. And Ashley eating there yesterday, her phenomenal sandwich and whatnot, seem to have heard something different. Can you elaborate?
Yes, I will elaborate, kind sir. So we had seen that article Anne had posted to her Instagram story. It said something to the effect of, my hours were cut at the shop, and it was about her podcast. It's nominated for an award. Like, please go and vote. Basically, she's saying all of her eggs are in this podcast basket because she doesn't have hours anymore. It's something about her. So I didn't want to seem too shady, but I still wanted to be curious. So I went and I asked, I was like, went up to order and I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful in here. Is Anne working today? And the lovely young lady said, oh, yeah, Anne doesn't work here. She's just here when they film and she gets her camera time. And I was like, ugh. Because I feel bamboozled. I feel like I was got. Apparently, according to something about her staffer, it is just for facade. She doesn't really work there. She will go and take pictures, according to this source from the restaurant, but she's never worked there. And that makes no sense why Anne would say, hey, my hours were cut. Like, people said Anne was shady because of the whole Sandoval thing. And I was just like, you know what? She was a miserable employee. She's all these people in Hollywood. Everyone wants to be an actor. Like, she's doing what she can to move up, but maybe she is shady.
Well, and also I want to kind of piggyback, and guys, I see you in the live chat too. We will get to New Jersey. Don't worry.
Sorry. There's not much to talk about in Jersey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Also, relax. Okay. It's going to be great. This is going to be a fun hour. So just grab your drink, grab your mimosa. It's Monday. It could be Mimosa Monday. I don't know. Not for me, but for you guys, sure. But
love that.
What I was going to say is, with Anne not working there, I remember when when we first opened TomToms, and even working at Sir, and even when Jason was running Pump, I remember at TomTom, Lisa came in and she told Tom and Tom that they need to go act like they're cleaning the bathrooms. So they went up and they were like acting, they're like, we don't know what to do, and cleaning the bathrooms and acting like they were batching cocktails in the kitchen. And then the cameras would come over and then they would just leave the shit there after the cameras would walk out. And they're like, can you guys take care of that? And I remember looking at Tom Sandoval saying, no, I'm not taking that out. And he's like, come on, man, you got it. I'm going to go outside and smoke a cigarette, and then I have to film this other scene. Like, man, it's a lot on me. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So then when I was at Sir too, I would walk in and everybody would ask for Sheena, Stassi, Lala, Jax, Tom, Kristen, all of them, but they would come in for the hours of filming. They would take tables in that moment, so it was organic for the filming of it all. But then the minute that filming and like cameras went down and they got unmiked, they would just pass all the tables along. They would take whatever tips that they got for that moment, whatever, but they would literally leave mid-service of a table and be like, okay, so they would pass it to the real servers who were working there. So this has been going on for a long, long time.
Wow. I went to Sir several years ago with my sister, and it was funny. They were in one of the side rooms and they had just positioned Sheena there. She wasn't even pretending to wait tables. Like, she was like hired there for a shift just to stand there and talk to fans as they came up to her. There was no, like, we weren't pretending she was waiting tables. We're not pretending she works there. She was in street clothes, literally just greeting people and taking pictures. They weren't even pretending at that point that she worked there. And this was
They're just
probably
like, we're done.
3 years ago.
We're done.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we're not going to even pretend this anymore. They're over it. These people aren't waiting tables.
No. But you know what? At the end of the day too, like we are all still curious as to what the future of the Vanderpump Rules cast looks like. And a huge congratulations to Stassi Schroeder for landing a Hulu docu-comedy series called Stassi Says. And I know that they say that she's going to be a cast member on Vanderpump Villa. I would imagine those would be little cameos, her talking to Lisa, being silly here and there. She's not going to full-time commit to that, especially not with her new babies and stuff. But it's a great way to promote. And for those of you guys who don't know, when you are contracted by NBC or Bravo, a lot of my friends who are still on their respective shows, they have contracts that last X amount of time. So whether they get kicked off the show or they quit the show, if the contract says that they are binded to NBC or Bravo for the next 2 years until 2025, they're not allowed to get another job with another show on another network until 2025. And sometimes, if they want pay raises for a new season contract, they can negotiate a higher episodic rate. But that time frame, in order to have those handcuffs on them to stay with Bravo and not be able to join another network, that gets prolonged based on how much money they're giving them in addition to what their episodic rate was. So it's a very interesting situation. And I think, based off of what I'm kind of figuring out here, is that Stassi Schroeder did not want to join on to be with the Valley. She did not want to sign another contract. She didn't want to be in the handcuffs that is Bravo. And she waited out her time. She did her time like Jen Shah is doing, and now she is going to Hulu. Okay?
You know, I don't believe in cancel culture. I think people have the right to do better, and we have to give people space to move on. with respect to that, a lot of people in the comments were saying things like, in what world do we take Stassi off of Bravo and then put her on a network after she was fired for, doing what she did
it's
to
been
Faith,
so
a Black
long.
woman? They're like, how are they moving her to Hulu, which is owned by Disney? You're going to fire her from Bravo and then put her on a Disney show? And I'm like, it's money. People don't care. Stassi gets ratings. Ratings equal money, and that's what
Well,
the company wants.
and maybe yes, and also maybe it would be different if Stassi would have doubled down on the things that transpired at that time that she was canceled. But she tucked her head in, she tucked her tail in, she put her head down, she apologized, and then she went dark. She went ghost. She wrote a book. She did her podcast stuff. She wasn't trying to do any of the shows. And then all of a sudden, Kristen Doty, Jax Taylor, all of these other people, they also got rewarded with a Bravo show, and they have come out of cancel culture. It is what it is. Like I saw a couple comments where people are like, cancel Stassi now. Like, don't let the show come to fruition. I'm like, guys, people have to have the ability or the opportunity to redeem themselves, because that's showing growth, and we're allowed to. Unfortunately, sometimes we're assholes and make really, really bad mistakes, but you need to be able to learn from those mistakes and be able to show that you've learned from those mistakes. And we're going to see. We haven't seen Stassi in a long
We'll
time.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think about it like the choices I made in my early 20s specifically were really, really not good. And if I were to be forever judged by things I did 20 years ago, that would have really changed the projection of my life and what I've been able to do. So I really just don't think it's fair to put somebody in a box because they messed up. So hopefully she's redeemed herself. Hopefully we see a new and improved version. I stand Bo. Her husband is the best man ever. And he has just brought so much calmness and safety, I think, to Stassi that she's never seen before in a relationship. And I think she's just so comfortable in her relationship that we can see her really relax with who she is. And it's been lovely to see. I've enjoyed Stassi so much since I've always loved Stassi. And I can be a season 1 Stassi. Like, if I'm hot or if I'm hungry, I turn into season 1 Stassi. Like, that is me. So I've always been a Stassi fan, but this is her era. Bo is just a perfect match for her, and I just love them.
We're all about it. All right, guys. We are going to move on over to exactly what you were waiting for, the end of an era, which is the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Now, before we get into, I guess, sort of recapping the episode that we already recapped, but from a different perspective of recapping it, since they're sitting at rails, calling it off the rails. I don't really actually know what was going on in this. I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on this, because Melissa Gorga posted this last night. What are your thoughts? I'm going to read it to you guys. Hi, lovers. My team, Melissa's peeps. I do the show for many reasons, but I need to take a minute before season 14 is over and tell you all how much you all mean to me for the last 14 years. You are also amazing and always keep me going. It's not always easy staying in my own lane, keeping it classy. Sometimes I want to lose my shit, trust me. And I know I have at times. But I go into this as something I appreciate, something that I believe could be inspiring through all the good times and the bad, and it's time to keep Jersey moving forward. So I love you all very much. Melissa XOXO. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think we're at the point where I don't know if we have any heroes anymore on this show. Like, I don't know if I can say I'm on a team or anything. I just have completely Meredith Marks disengaged with this cast. They're so mean, they're so nasty, and I'm over it. I do feel like Melissa is the lesser of a lot of the evils. I appreciate that she said that, she has gotten messy, but I think it's just become so much more than that over the years. The generational fighting between these families, it's something I don't want to watch. And I can't tell you how happy I am that this season and hopefully this era of the show is done. Put it in the ground, bury it. We'll say a prayer and move on.
I don't think I saw Matt Rogers last night on Watch What Happens Live, though, with Bone Yang, and he said, hear me out to Andy. He's like, Teresa and Jen and Jackie, that was a very toxic room last night watching them.
Disgusting.
Yeah, but then the other women, I was like, oh no, that really is like there is a lot of positive there. You know, even when
Mhm.
Jen Fessler walked in and Danielle tried to be like quick with her, and Jen was like, no, no, I don't have to do this shit. I will walk out. No, we're not starting. But then she acknowledged and apologized, which is the very foundation of what Housewives was supposed to be: conflict and resolution. So immediately it got resolved and they were able to hug this out. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, this is a good group of women right here.
Mhm.
I don't think it needs a total reboot. I think by doing a total reboot, we're going to be doing a disservice to the show. And I don't think that they'll ever be able to recreate Jersey with a whole new cast. I just don't. I think that if anything, you take it out back and get rid of the franchise, or you just figure out a way to cut 2 or 3 of the people out, and that's okay. Maybe somebody
Mhm.
needs to be put on pause. Maybe take Teresa off, take Jennifer, and I love Jennifer Aydin, but I actually don't even know if you need to take Jennifer Aydin out. I think Jackie Goldschneider should be fired. If Jennifer Aydin gets fired, it's because she's talking to bloggers and she's leaking way too much stuff, which is what with the balloons, guys. What, you guys agree with me? What is that? So with Jennifer Aydin, I think it's because she's talking to bloggers. And even when Andy called her out, she's like, we all talk to bloggers. So it's like, oh, well, you're a little defensive, and she gets a little bit nasty. But then watching her at the finale episode when she was looking at Teresa and she's like, let's hear Margaret out. Let's hear her out. I think that
Good
Jennifer
point.
Aydin is like on the front lines for Teresa Giudice. And if you take Teresa out, Jennifer might be able to forge a relationship with the rest of these women. Sort of like why I didn't want Robin Dixon on with Giselle Bryant anymore on Potomac, because they would just
Yes.
stay together, you know?
Exactly. I'm so tired of those two dynamics. I think you make a really, really good point about that. I can stand by that 100.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that Fessler and Danielle, like, they said, "Hey, you know what? You said something that was messed up. I when I and Fessler said, when I watched the footage back, I really wish I wouldn't have stood up on their team. I should have been with you. I watch it and I regret it. That's all. That's all it takes. The
Yeah.
thing is, Danielle and Fessler were able to stop talking and yelling, listen and process what was said, and they were able to move forward. I just feel like Teresa just doesn't listen. It's like diarrhea of the mouth. It just bleh, all the time. And she doesn't listen and she doesn't process. And that's why she's not able to like make better choices moving forward.
I think that it's an element of her not processing it or listening, but also I think that she refuses to be wrong, because the last couple days when I was sitting here and on Saturday when I took a veg day, I just went through like season 1 through like 9, watching the reunions and little snippets. And when Andy would call Teresa out for something and be like, don't you think you could have done this in a different way and you don't see what the problem is? And she's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't wrong. I didn't do anything. That's not my problem. And it's like, no, you did. But she has consistently been that same person for a long
Right.
time. And then now you add this extra toxic element that is Louie Ruelas, and then
Bleh.
Louie pissing off Andy Cohen with the kid comment. I'm like, oif, I don't know if you guys are coming back. I
Wow.
don't.
And that was something I thought was really, really interesting because Dolo had me. When they showed that scene with Margaret, Dolores lost her shit. She went into gremlin mode again on Teresa, rightfully so. Like, how dare you? How dare you say that about somebody's child? We don't do that. And then Teresa, oh
Double
my God, I
down.
wanted to bang my head against the wall. She's like, but they did it first. But they did it first. She started it. She started it. I used to teach elementary school. That is what I heard on the playground in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade. I do not watch reality TV to like listen to what I can go like in my neighborhood elementary school and witness. I'm good. The fact that Dolo came at her that hard, I was like, okay, girl, okay. But then Teresa's like, you got to drop it. You got to drop it. And she just kind of let it go. Like, I would have been a dog with a bone. And if Teresa, she's like, yeah, I'll make Louie apologize. But it was just words. She isn't sorry. Louie is not sorry. As we can all, anybody who has comprehension skills can read from his apology that he did not apologize. He
It's massive
defended his
deflection.
behavior.
Right. It is the way you would imagine, and I'm not calling him a narcissist. It's the way that you would imagine a narcissist apologizing. And what I love about Dolores Catania is she will stick up for all of them. She will be friends with all of them if they're right, but if they're wrong, She's going to call it out. She doesn't care if it's Margaret Josephs. Yep. See ya next Tuesday. Or she doesn't care if it's Teresa. And Teresa is not really used to, she's used to people who are brought onto the show who think that she is the golden ticket. So if I go up against her, maybe I'll have longevity on the show. But Dolores has never been that person. Dolores has always been a friend of Teresa's and the person who will call her out if she doesn't agree with something. And what I love about the way that Dolores led into this, she was like, even when it was about my son, I sat there. I still stood by Louie's side. I said, we're not going to talk about this. But right now, what I'm telling you is what he said was wrong. Dolores, you need to stop. Don't do that, Dolores. Don't do that. And Dolores is like, what are you gonna do about it? Right. What are you gonna do? You're from Patterson. I'm from Patterson too. What are you gonna say? Go ahead.
Love Patterson. I love it when Dolo goes Patterson. It gives me life, and this is something that I wanted to say last week and I forgot. If Louie is that comfortable talking about Margaret's son like he did on camera, imagine the just vitriol that this man spits when cameras aren't around. Like, I cannot imagine the hateful things that are coming out of his mouth, and I find it very disturbing. It's terrifying. Almost as terrifying as the thong comments.
The thong. Wait, was that after we talked last week?
Yes.
Okay, Adam. So let me say this about that really quick. I said something because I had Kim on last Friday for Hot Messy Topics.
Love Kim.
Yeah, love Kim. And we had a great conversation about this. I have 11 brothers and sisters. Step, half, no full, but it is off and on a lot. And when my dad walked into being a stepfather to girls, my dad came in like, I remember my stepsisters, we were going to the skating rink in our small town on Friday nights. That was the thing. You either went to the skating rink or the drive-in. And my stepsister had these booty shorts on that were blue and white plaid, and my dad hated them. And she had this like little crop top thing on, a little low cut. And we were in 9th grade. We were freshmen in high school. And we went to walk out and he said, where are you going? And she was like, to the skating rink. And he's like, he can go to the skating, go change. And she's like, you're not my dad. He's like, I don't care. You're in my house. Go change. Like, that's not, your dad wouldn't let you out like that. Go change. And I remember my stepsisters used to give him so much shit because they didn't understand. And now I look at it, if I were a stepdad to girls, I understand, guys, body positivity and whatever. But like, what I don't understand is, especially if the girls are underage, you're in a foreign country, wear thongs, show your legs, dance on tables. I get it. You want to be sexy and you want to flaunt the body that you got. Okay, do it as an adult, unless you're under the, like, I don't understand. I would not put a 14, 15 or 16-year-old in the position to be across into a completely different country where it's a lot of people who are adults, a lot of people who go there to party, to engage in different substances, to have sex and have fun and have vacations. And then all of a sudden parade my gorgeous stepdaughters around and be like, oh, wear thongs. Like, are you a moron? No, absolutely not.
Even him talking to the 23-year-old like that, that's your stepdaughter. Your stepdaughter. Don't talk about your stepdaughter that way. It's vile and disgusting. And the conversation is, where's Juicy Joe? Juicy Joe, you need to say something. I saw a theory. I published this earlier today on tasteofreality.com. Juicy Joe did enter the chat. And from what his account said, is that he was like, yeah, it came off weird. He admitted, he was like, yeah, that came off really weird. But I've met Louie a few times and he's a good dude. I was looking through the comments.
Did we lose you? Guys, I think we might have lost Ashley. Here, I'm going to text her real quick and say, come back in. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with this while we wait for Ashley to come back. No, what I was saying too is, even with Ashley saying that Juicy Joe is, kind of being like, it's okay for Louie to say things like that. Yes, it's creepy, but I've met him. He's a good guy. I have another theory, and that theory is that I think that Louie, like Joe, knows that he has no control being in the Bahamas of what's going on with his daughters. His daughters are in this home with Louie. Louie is with Teresa. And I'm pretty sure Joe Giudice is no dummy. I'm sure he realizes that Louie has the ability to kind of nix people out of Teresa's life, like her brother and other members of the family. And so Joe doesn't want to be on that list. So instead of him fighting Louie on every weird, creepy thing he says, in order for him to keep the peace with the daughters and everything else that's going on, he probably just says, you know what? Yes, that was a little strange, but okay. And he probably has those real conversations, not publicly, out of respect for Teresa, but with his daughters, saying, keep an eye out. Don't deal with the weird shit. Okay. Okay, Ashley said she's trying to come on right now. Worries, we're here. All right, guys. So I wanted to go on to the next thing. The other thing that I had an issue with last night was when we were watching Jackie Goldschneider in the Teresa situation, once it all came out, and Melissa Gorga looked at Jackie Goldschneider and she said, if it's something that if you actually did this and you met up with his exes, then you need to say something now because, honey, it's going to come out. And Jackie's like, I met with her. Yes. Then Jackie doubles down last night on the finale reunion situation. And she's like, yeah, but I didn't do that after we became friends. That's my whole point. Margaret Josephs also did not do that after her and Teresa became friends. They're not friends right now. So if she's digging into Louie and to Teresa, they're not friends. So that's the same exact thing that Jackie Goldschneider did. You dug into them when you weren't friends. Okay. That's not like, that's not rocket science here. But then watching Teresa, and I do agree with Teresa in the sense that she said, listen, I tried to hurt her first. I tried to hurt Jackie Goldschneider and her husband and her family first. I went after her. So it's an eye for an eye. She came back after me. Okay, well, now we're taking responsibility, but you're taking responsibility in the eyes of the viewers. It looks like she's taking responsibility because if she had to choose between plan A or plan B, plan A is shit. Margaret Josephs was right. We have to apologize to Margaret, or at least acknowledge that what she was saying about Jackie Goldschneider and all of the shady shenanigans going on behind the scenes was true. Or she says, you know what? I'm not going to flip sides. I'm going to be loyal to Jackie and just understand at one point, I was spreading a rumor that your husband, Evan, was cheating on you. So it kind of makes me think. I mean, it makes me think a lot. But then moving on in last night's episode, I did like where we had Danielle Cabral and the rest of the women on the good side. Just being able to have conversations about what was happening on the show. Melissa Gorga seems so checked out in the sense that she's like, not checked out from the show, but like, I can't do this drama anymore. I can't fight with Teresa. This is the end of a chapter. And it almost makes you sad because you've been spending so many years watching these women, watching the kids grow up. And I also saw where Melissa Gorga said that Teresa and her kids and Joe Gorga and Melissa and their kids, they're not family anymore. We don't talk to each other. Nothing about us is together. Nothing. So now they're all moving on. But then Melissa Gorga and a lot of the other women have a problem with Gia Giudice filming. Gia Giudice is 23 years old, right? Hold on, Ashley's back. Hello.
Hello, I got kicked off of Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Thank you for your patience.
I was talking about Gia Giudice getting a lot of shit right now because even though she's 23, the rest of the women don't like that she gets confessionals, that she's in filming scenes. And I know that you don't involve the kids because they don't want to go back in and fight Gia. Like if Gia says something to them, they don't want to go as an adult up against who they consider a kid. But Gia's kind of like, I've been on the show longer than any of you women. I grew up on this show. So Ashley, I wanted to ask your opinion on this one.
She's a grown-ass woman. And if she wants to be on the show, that's fine. But I feel when she goes on the show voluntarily and sits in those confessionals, that gives us, the viewers, permission to comment on her, just like we do her mother and her friends and her foes. And sorry if you don't like it, it's her choice. If Gia wants to do it, she can do it. But that means the good, bad, and the ugly that comes with it.
That
So
means
she's
that
free game. Like I'm typically of the, no, we don't talk about the daughters. We don't talk about the kids. But if she's choosing to be on it, this is her choice to be in this world. That it's just part of the gig.
yeah. Well, and I also feel like too, it's Adriana, Melania, Gia, fourth daughter. Ugh.
Did you say Adriana?
Yeah. I always
don't
blank on the fourth daughter because she doesn't like being in the limelight, you guys.
Right.
She always
I'm really bad with kids.
she went to the come on, guys, in the live chat, help me out. Because she doesn't want to be in the limelight.
Antonia? No, that's Melissa's daughter.
That's Melissa's daughter. Somebody, Gabriella. Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah. So Gabriella, you don't see her in confessionals. Every once in a while, she'll do little sponsored promotion things. And for Gia and Melania, they want to be famous. They have talked about this. They want to be influencers. Gia is filming a TV show with some other famous Bravo kids like Riley Burris, Brooks Marks, Kim Zolciak's daughter, Ariana. I don't, that name always confuses me. Even with Maddox, it confuses me. But they want that. They want the fame. They want all of it. And for Gabriella, she's like, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want the attention. So she just stays out of it. And I would think that because she decides to stay out of it, she's not free game for people to attack. Whereas like if Gia, like you said, is doing confessionals, well, girl, you're kind of putting yourself on the front lines here, you know?
Right. She's over 18. She's making decisions. She signed the contract. Her mom's not responsible for signing the contract if she's a grown woman. So this is her. Like, this is the part of the gig. And like you said, she's going to be on that Making It in Manhattan, I think it's called, with all the other Bravo celebrity kids. Like, she is just getting herself into the reality TV world. So this is the world that she's entering. Buckle up, baby. It's not easy.
What are your thoughts, by the way, also, because after that came out about Teresa, when Teresa and Louie did that podcast, Teresa came back out and said that that podcast was edited where he said the things about the daughters. And I don't know if she said that to be like, oh, well, it was edited, it's not a big deal. But I kind of looked at it as like, oh, well, that's even more stupid. Because if it was edited, then you should have edited that part out, knowing that people were going to make it into a big deal. That doesn't make any sense to me. Well,
and she deleted the podcast.
Did
so
she?
Like if there was, yeah, the podcast is gone. Podcast gone. But Chrissy Balls, that the blogger Chrissy Balls, she looked and found the transcript of the podcast is still available. They have deleted the podcast, but the transcript is available. And the clips that were taken in that original thing where we heard the comment about the thongs and the show your legs, there was even more to it. And it was something to the effect of, Louie said, did your mom, talking to Teresa, did your mom let you do this? And Teresa said, no, my mom didn't do this. And she said to keep my top on because in Italy, there are topless beaches. And Louie was like, oh, that's the difference between us and how your parents raised you. And it was just like, that's a generational difference. I will agree with you there. It is a difference. It is a shocking difference.
No way in hell would oh my Gorgina. No. And I guess we all grow up differently. There is no way if I were Teresa Giudice or her daughters or Joe Giudice or anybody else that's a friend of Teresa, would I sit there and let my daughters go topless on a beach around their stepdad? No, especially somebody who is very vocal about like, and I'm not saying anything weird, has been very vocal about if that letter is true, the one for the warrior camp, saying that you are a sex addict and all of these things. Like, I don't want my kids around that. That's a personal, I'm not bashing Louie. I'm saying I would not want my kids. If I had kids and Jason and I got a divorce, we had kids, and then I had a new partner and that partner came in and made comments about my kids, your ass would be so far gone or you would be buried under my house.
Like, dismembered, you'd be in like 48 pieces scattered around my neighborhood, and they'd have to do a jigsaw puzzle to figure out how I got you into so many pieces.
Yeah, it's not. And again, this isn't specific. This is specific to the words and the ideology of what is trying to be explained on that end. This is not specific to Louie Ruelas. I'm not sitting here saying like, oh my God. I'm saying what you're saying. Maybe you didn't think about it. You said it. They were your words. They came out on that podcast, and they made you sound like, in the eyes of the fans, based off of the masses where I've seen the comments, they made you sound creepy.
Yeah.
And I think people agree to that.
He's Creepy Louie. I will never call him anything other than Creepy Louie from now on, because that's who he is.
My
He's
next
creepy.
question. It's creepy. It's creepy.
Oh,
My next,
I get ick.
My next question for you about Teresa and Louie is, when Danielle Cabral said that Teresa was a shell of herself when she went over to her house, and that it doesn't seem like a happy home, and it seems like there's a lot of stress and a lot of like, Teresa's just not the same person. Do you think this is Teresa's forever? And I hate to guess on somebody's relationship, but since you are on reality TV, people are talking about it anyways. Is this going to last, or once she's no longer famous or no longer on the show, will it kind of dissipate at that time? Or is there something that's going to come out where it's going to be a huge red flag, and then all of a sudden we have a lot of other people and eyes involved, and then she's going to separate herself? Or do you think that they're going to stay in their love bubble? I don't know.
I don't know. I think if Teresa starts losing things, the show, if the endorsements, if she starts losing followers and all the things, like if her castle begins to crumble, maybe she'd go. I don't know. I think she's so stubborn that she has said she trusts Louie. This is her story, and I don't think she will say she's wrong. But at the same time, like, if everything falls apart around you, how do you like stay in that situation? I don't have very much faith in Teresa as a person like with morals to do the right thing, nor do I have a lot of faith in her as an intelligent person to make a sound decision. So I can't, as a sound-minded person, I don't know what she'll do, because it will not make sense to me most likely either way it goes.
I really wish she would have just got with Hot Tony, the pool guy.
Keep things simple. Bone the pool. But now the way she talks about plumbers, you go home to a plumber. Like, she's not going to marry a pool guy if she's being rude to people who have jobs that are like white or blue collar jobs. Like, she's crap.
Can I also, last night, Jen Aydin, what's a cobbler? And I'm like, and she's like, it's a shoemaker. But then when we're talking, Jennifer Aydin, from my understanding, unless you guys know something that I don't, let me tell you what bothers me about Jen Aydin, because I really like her as a housewife. I think that she's hilarious. But when you come from nothing and you get a little bit and you marry, things come up, you start buying Ferraris, you got an elevator, you got 500 bathrooms in your house and all of that. What happens? Like, why, when do you become this like just asshole of being like, I'm here and you're here and I'm rich and you want to be me? Your life is pathetic. You'll never be me. You'll never have the husband who sleeps in the pool house who cheats on you. You'll never have it's like, what are you talking about, girl? Like, when you're that kind of out of it, you know who has more than all of them if she gets married? Dolores Catania and Paul. They have the real money. He has real money. Yeah. Dolores does great on her own. She has businesses and money, but like, you never hear Dolores lives in the nicest home. She's the one driving around the Rolls Royce, and you never hear anything. It doesn't matter to her. She'll walk away from it in 2 seconds. That's my kind of person. And then Jen Aydin, like when they were asking her in an interview, well, what are you going to do if the show comes to an end? She's like, I don't know. I'll go back to counting my Ferraris and my fabulous life and all of my bathrooms. Like, like and I'm like, you sound like, God, I never want to be anything like you.
No.
Ever.
Like the fact that she shames poor people, or like not even poor people. She shames like people like Danielle. Like she
has a
like,
big, beautiful house.
Right. Is she going to walk down the street and like make fun of people experiencing homelessness? Like, is she that type of person? That's the vibe I get from her. Like, that she would like walk down the street and like make fun of people who are struggling. And that just doesn't feel good. I hated the storyline when she was on Danielle about the charities and how she steals from charities. That's not what Danielle did. Like, if you've ever done anything with charity work, it's a lot of money to put that stuff up. And sometimes you need to put money up. And like, if it's your money and it's a lot of time, I mean, I didn't see receipts, but I don't think that Danielle was like taking money from a charity. If anything else, she like put money back in her own account that she put forward, you know, just kind of as a placeholder to get things moving. I don't see
It's kind of
anything
like when
wrong with that.
when you reserve a venue for a wedding, right? Like you got to put the
Yes.
money up front, and then. But it's listen, my birthday here in Charleston, it was July 6th, so a month and 6 days ago, or 7 days, whatever, depending on if there was 31 days, whatever. It was totally sponsored. So there were a lot of people who came forward and, you know, gave us like different spins and sponsored the event and gave us different liquors and CBD products and like candies and food and all of the things. But then at one point, Jason and I had to pay a couple people who were coming in, like a DJ and stuff, and that was all going to be sponsored too, but they needed their money up front, so we paid it.
Yes.
I don't have Jennifer Aydin money where I would pay it and then all of a sudden turn around and then say, okay, well, we're going to give you the money back. And no, it's a charity. No, I need that money back. I couldn't afford to spend it, and I wouldn't have spent it had I have known I wasn't getting the money back, because I still count my pennies and nickels and dimes. I'm still that person. And for Jen Aydin, you are just so out of touch with it, or at least you pretend to be. And for Danielle Cabral, I talked to her at BravoCon, and we were in the bazaar. Her booth was right up behind Caroline Stanberry's booth. I walked over, I said hi to her. And when I did, she was setting up the whole booth with Nate, and it was just them two. And they were trying to figure out how to set it up. And she was like, there's so much that goes into this. Like my other castmates, like they have glam, they have people, they have assistants, they can afford that. Like I'm doing everything on my own because I'm only on the show for one season. Like maybe after 4 seasons, I can start to afford to have these kinds of people helping me out. But right now, I don't make enough money to do that, you know?
Yeah. I respect that. Like, I appreciate her honesty. I really don't feel like there was anything nefarious about what she was doing. And the fact that Jen tried to spin that and make her look like a charity thief, like you are stealing from charities. That is so low to insinuate about somebody.
Well, speaking of a charity thief, not to flop over, but did you just see too, by the way, Brittany Cartwright just called out Jax Taylor for lying about his cameo proceeds going to esophageal cancer.
And speaking of dirty deleting, she and Kristen deleted their stories saying that. They posted it. It was up for maybe 5 or 6 hours, and then both of their stories disappeared. Of course, we have screenshots. There's proof. There's timelines. There's receipts. There's screenshots. But those stories were gone. And I didn't process the reason. But again, somebody in the comments said, oh, it's probably going to be a lawsuit. If Jax really was not being forthcoming about, if he was saying, I'm going to be giving these proceeds to people, you know, to charities for esophageal. I'm sorry, I'm not an esophagus expert from Beverly Hills, but he, like, I guess that's what his dad had. If he was saying he was donating that money to charity and he wasn't, and if Brittany and Jax are still married, that could be a financial repercussion that's put on her through the divorce. So maybe they dirty deleted it just to cover herself because she doesn't want to be named or associated at all in that lawsuit. But if Brittany said he's not donating that money to charity, he's not donating that money to charity, period. Because he would brag if he was. He'd be showing everybody the check, like, look at how much I donated to charity, because that's how Jax is.
Well, and then also, too, I was thinking about it. Once you said that it was deleted, the only other thing that I could have thought about in this was maybe like a CY, like a cover your ass kind of situation. And maybe he maybe he turned around and said, oh, well, I was trying to wait like 3 or 4 days and accumulate as many cameos as possible before I wrote the first check. And then I was going to give the check, even though I'm on Cameo and you can link fundraisers or different charities to your Cameo and have the money funneled right away to the charities. You don't have to just write a check. You can have the proceeds taken out immediately, and then they give you, either you give it 100%, you can choose what percentage you want to give. So who actually knows with that? By the way, guys, I have joined the family of being blocked by Jax officially.
Oh, welcome to the club.
Oh, are you blocked too?
Oh, we're blocked on our personal accounts. We're blocked on our business account. I've been blocked in real life by Jax. I was literally in the middle of a conversation with Jax. I asked him a question he didn't like, and he literally walked away from me in the middle of the conversation. I'm like, did I just get blocked by Jax in real life? I think I did. Yeah, he doesn't like when you like challenge him on anything, and I wasn't being rude or shady. I literally asked a question that he didn't like, and he walked away from me.
You know what I imagine? Do you remember the cartoon movie Aladdin?
Yeah, sure.
And do you remember when, who was it? It was like, I think it was like Iago who was like at the end of it, like, here, take a fucking cookie. You get a cookie. To the Sultan, you get a cookie. And we want another cookie. Paul, I want a cookie. And I can picture you being like, oh yeah, bitch, you want to block me? Take some beer cheese. How about this? You get more beer cheese and the shitty pretzel thing that's not a real pretzel.
Yeah.
How about that?
Like, how do you fuck up a pretzel? I'm sorry. I just said the F word on your show.
Fine.
I apologize, Adam
You are
Stanley.
fine.
I get very offended when people serve me bad food. I love a good meal. And if you serve me bad food, I'm not a happy camper. And you're going to be mean to me? No.
Absolutely not.
So can we pivot back to Jersey? Because there's something that I missed from our recap last week that's not very different from the recap this week, because we had like all of like maybe 7 minutes of new content. Last week, people were very upset by the final episode that we didn't see that scene between Teresa, Louie and Margaret all yelling about how Louie's stealing all of Teresa's money. People are like, why didn't we see that scene? Why didn't we see that scene? I gave Bravo a little bit more credit than maybe they deserved. I was like, maybe they're going to show that when they're at the Off the Rails episode. They just completely omitted that scene. Wow. And that makes me very, very skeptical. Why would they pull that scene if so many people were talking about it in the media? They literally just clipped this pathetic episode, if we want to call it an episode, whatever it was that they served us last night. Like, I'd send it back to the kitchen. If that was a meal being served to me, I'd say, I need to talk.
Was that your beer cheese of an episode?
It was the beer cheese of an episode. You waited tables, like you've worked with people in kitchens. My husband used to be a chef. I'm watching The Bear right now. If they put up a plate of food that is unacceptable, they say make it again.
Yeah.
They throw the food away, or they serve it to somebody in the kitchen, as a family meal or whatnot, and they won't serve it.
Oh, I was the king of sorry, not to interrupt. I was the king of taking shit back, because if somebody said they didn't like it, I'm like, well, you're paying for it. So let me take it back and have it fixed or get you something else. And when I would take it back to the kitchen, they would be like, oh, well, it's always the same. And I'm like, well, obviously not, because they said it tastes like shit. And they're the ones who are paying for it. And you guys don't care because you're tired. But that means that you guys are giving us less quality, when in all actuality, these people are coming from all over the place for an amazing meal. So you being tired is not their problem. Let's get through the shift.
Yeah, I wanted to send the episode back to the chef yesterday, and then I was going into Game of Thrones mode. I wanted to, excuse the visual, I wanted to strip all of the producers of all their clothes. I wanted them to walk through the streets naked while we scream, shame, 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 and lunged objects, being our remote control, at them for giving us a terrible season 14 and an even worse reunion that should have never happened. That should have been scrapped. They should have never put that on television. Shame on you.
Do you think that maybe Teresa leveraged her not participating in something, like whether it was that, whatever that reunion was, or I don't know. Do you think that maybe she said, if you guys end up airing that, then I'm not doing, like, I'm not promoting, I'm not doing it. If you guys,
I think maybe so. I really do think there's something out there, because why else would that scene have been cut? She hates when people insinuate that Louie might be up to something fishy, and the money issue. She will deflect, redirect, and oh my God, Louise, Ashley for president. I didn't even get to be 4-H president in 5th grade. So that's a long shot, but I'm here for it. I am here for it. Thank you.
We love that.
Yeah, I'm still bitter about the 4-H president thing. Like, I'm holding grudges from 1990. So just so you know, maybe you
That's
don't want me as
okay.
president. I'm
Yeah.
kind of a mess, but thank you.
She's a little bitter on that 4-H thing. So guys,
Yeah.
maybe
So,
the president, that's a stretch here. But no, I mean, I think that she could have leveraged something, because I also think that with her, I think that she has to deal with a lot of the ramifications of the backlash that he receives from doing the show. And I'm sure a lot of it for him in the conversations that are behind the scenes are, babe, I do this for you. Like, I put myself out there for you. You don't see everything that I do for you and your family. Like, I'm always doing things for you, and you don't get it like I do. Everybody's attacking me. They're attacking my businesses, and it's because I love you. You don't see that? I love you, and I want your daughters to wear thongs and show their legs in grease, and I love you. Damn it.
yes, and they should be able to go topless if they want to. Let them live. Woo, girls gone wild. Sorry for my PJs. I'm on vacation.
That's okay. But no, I think that could have easily have been a conversation that was had. But somebody said, Janine said, what about the disappearing Mercedes? Well, go watch Dana Wilkie, Dishing Drama with Dana Wilkie's Patreon. Go listen to it, because there are some theories on that. But last night at the end, listen, I can also celebrate a win. And the win here was, we had Rachel Fuda announced that she is pregnant. Her and John are pregnant. They're going to be a family of 6. If you guys are not familiar, they have been going through a rough journey of trying to get pregnant. She was taking a lot of hormones, and she put her body through it. I'm not a woman, so I couldn't even imagine, but I do believe her when she said how hard that was on her body and how her mood swings went up and down. And they decided, if this round doesn't work, then you know what? We're going to be content with our beautiful little family, and we're going to move on. But she ended up getting pregnant. She is only 33 years old, which is crazy to me, because she's only 2 years older than me. And
Wow.
I'm like, okay, bitch, how did you get in that mansion? Because do I have 2 years to, like, what you have, like, you have a whole tribe of children and a big ass mansion in New Jersey. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah. You know, I was doing research for an article the other day, and I realized that Rachel Fuda is exactly 10 years older than Gia.
Really?
So Rachel
Yeah.
Fuda as a 10-year-old wouldn't have even been old enough to babysit Gia. Like, you have to be like 12 or whatever to babysit legally or whatever. I just think that's funny. And something else, I don't feel like an adult. Like, maybe it's because I don't have kids or something, but Melissa Gorka's only a year older than me. She's 45 and I'm 44. And she feels like a full-ass adult. And I just feel like I'm kind of skating through life. I don't know why. I don't feel like I'm on the same, like, playing field as her, like, in life. Maybe because she, like, is so established and stuff, but
that's why we watch our.
How are we the same age?
That's why we watch our housewives, because they have these opulent lifestyles. Guys, I know you're saying 4 kids. When she had family of 6, she was counting her and John as well. There's a baby coming.
On the sign it said family of 6.
Yes. I'm not getting my numbers wrong, guys. Okay.
I'm not good at math, but that mathed.
That maths. All right. So with this, I know that you're still in LA, you're on vacation, and you're going to see the hubby really, really soon. So if they don't know, I'm going to pull up your socials right now. That way we can go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. And I am going to start with Instagram. Here we go.
All right. So my business partner is Imani. Imani is amazing. She is great at writing articles, love her content. She's mostly on the website or on the Instagram. She's mostly on the socials. We have so much content coming to you. She had to go back to Florida, so she's on her way home. She's going to start writing and getting life going. I'm going to be here and there. We are doing reviews of Jax's. We went to Sir. You're getting a full review of that. You're getting a review of TomTom. You're going to be getting a review of Hotel Ziggy, where we're staying, where we stayed over the weekend. We're very excited to share all that with you. The website is mostly me. I do most of the writing. Imani pops up in there, here and there, but it is literally 2 of us with Taste of Reality. I think a lot of people think we're a bigger operation, so thank you. I think it's a compliment, but, like, we're a 2-person operation, so We do the best we can, and we appreciate it. We did go on the TMZ tour this weekend, and it was fascinating. But to see the amazing, like, humongous staff that they have is overwhelming. They have people that just like are stationed for 8 hours, like within like a city block, just going up and down looking for celebrities. So these people have staffs of hundreds of people doing this. So we appreciate your patience and sticking with us while it's only 2 of us, but we love what we do. We love gossip. We love talking trash and living vicariously through all of these people. So, and I love you, Adam, for giving me a space to chat about this, because typically I'm just here, you know, on the end of the keyboard, me being the keyboard warrior. It's nice to actually have human interaction. So thank you.
Listen, I'm all about it, and I think that we always have a great time when you come on, and I love being able to converse about some of the things that we love, like Bravo TV and the gossip of it all. And I know all of you guys are who are watching. I wanted to say we hit over 2,000 in the room today. So New Jersey is over. It's the end of an era for now. But we do have other shows coming on. Last night, they ended up saying that Salt Lake City trailer's coming soon. We're going to be having a lot to discuss this season. By the way, guys, we're going to be heavily involved over here.
And I can't wait for all your Monica intel.
Like, oof. It's going to be like Up and Adam meets Salt Lake City. Get ready for this. And also, a huge thank you to roseforever.com for sponsoring our studio. They gave us 20% off to give to all of you guys. So that link is in the description of the video. Check them out. They last for over a year. They smell absolutely delicious, and they make the best gift. You can ask any of my siblings, my parents, all of them. And they love them.
They're lovely.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous aesthetic.
Hey, thanks. Wow. Great flow on Up and Adam and Ashley. Thank you. And then I saw this one real quick. JC said, doesn't Bravo get direct fan feedback where they would know that New Jersey fans would stay without Teresa, Louie, and Jen? It's like Andy thinks it can't be without her. Jay, they definitely have R&D, research and development. Like they have people who, you know, study these things to see which cast member. It's like Lala wanted her own show. She wanted her own spinoff, but her numbers weren't enough to get her own spinoff. So yes, they have these little analyses of the different characters on the show or castmates.
I would love to see like how I love research. I love numbers, even though I'm not great with them, but I love to see how things work. Like I would love to see like because I'll get like viewer feedback things from Bravo, like, hey, do this quick survey. And I did them several times and I'm always very honest, but like, and I feel like I'm in the community enough to where I know when I have an unpopular opinion and I know when my opinion is right on point with everybody else. And sometimes I feel like Bravo hates us. I'm like, does Bravo hate us? Like, why are they doing this to us? Like, why are Sheena and Lala, even if they're just friends on the Valley? I'm not saying I don't want them on there necessarily, but like, it has been overwhelming that they are not wanted on the Valley. Why are they filming on the Valley? Even as friends, why are they there?
Right. No, it's true. I mean, unless they're just trying to keep the faces familiar. That way, when they start filming for Vanderpump Rules again, it's not like we don't feel like we totally miss them, because that's where they messed up with Dubai, because after season 1, they gave us such a big gap to season 2. And now the ratings suck because they didn't do it the right way. So yeah, maybe they're just trying to keep their faces in front of our faces. So it's like, we didn't feel like we went too much time without them, because you know, sometimes it does become, especially over time, you guys, out of sight, out of mind, you know?
It's true. Imani and I were on vacation for 2 days and had like one article for 2 days. And I'm like, where did all of our viewers go? Like, if you are not on top of your stuff, you know, you go in on vacation, like, it's like, oh my God, like it's an adjustment. You have to be on top of things in this world. So yeah, I feel that.
Oif.
Doggy dog world out there.
Doggy dog world.
That's gross.
Janine said, Adam, I think you should buy a lottery today. Maybe I'll take you up on that. Guys.
Hey, I'm in California. I'm going to buy you a California lottery ticket. If you win, we split it. How about that?
I want a photo of that lottery ticket.
I will do it. No, I'm an honest girly. I would never like scam you.
You guys heard this first. If Ashley becomes a billionaire,
I'll
YouTube
split
is
it
over.
with you. That's good karma. If I'm becoming a billionaire, I'm donating half of it anyway. So
I'm just fine. Ashley, you're the best. You're so sweet to come on with us, and thank you
I
for
love
taking
you
time to
guys.
make
The
this
Adams
show.
family is where it's at. Are you kidding me?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And hopefully, if you're around either Friday or next Monday, we will see you then.
I'm around.
All right. Guys, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed to Up and Adam channel 1 and 2. We have more content coming your way. We're dropping polls in the community tabs. And also, go check out tasteofreality.com and their social medias. Follow. It's free. It's free.
It is. And you can comment. We love to hear from you. Even when we disagree, we can disagree appropriately and kindly, and we can move on because we're grown-ups.
Isn't that a wild concept, you guys?
I know.
All right.
We're grown-ass adults.
Well, guys, I'm going to go pee now. So love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.